Hi, everyone. Hi, Malik, Nate, Ethan, Faith,
Hi,
Esther. How are you all doing?
good. We are doing fine.
Very nice. Let's give them a few more minutes before they join to get started. Today looks like everybody's running late.
Mm-hmm.
Is Nicole already in?
Nicole, I don't see.
Somebody's asking me to let her in, but I don't see her. That's from Malik, huh? But I see Faith. Faith is trying to get in. It looks like she has a bad connection.
Oh, Faith is in.
Faith is in now? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. The rest of the team will come and join us. And as usual, before we get started, we are going to go ahead and start with a word of prayer. And I would like to ask Esther. Esther, can you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you. We thank you for today. Thank you for everything that we are going to learn. Thank you for the gift of life and for enabling us to attend this class. Everything that we are going to learn, we ask God that you help us understand it and put it into practice. We also thank you that our parents have given us this opportunity to come and learn today. And for each and every one of us, we ask you to be with us. And as when we finish this class, we'll always remember to say thank you. And it's in Jesus' name I pray, believing and trusting. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And again, we are going to go ahead and get started. This session is being recorded. Whoever will want to go back and listen can always do that. Okay, last week I posted some stuff on the forum. We are going to quickly go over those so that we can learn what they all stand for. Okay. The first question was, what is a computer hardware? Who can help us with that? What do you understand by the word computer hardware? Okay. Ethan, remember that? You gonna try?
I'm not sure. Like, is it like does it have something to do with the internal chip or the X or the internal? Or...
Yeah, so the computer hardware simply refers to the physical components of a computer system, the one you can see and touch, okay? If it's a keyboard, could be a mouse, could be a screen, could be the computer box itself, also the computer hardware. Okay. Those are some of the examples. And then we also talked about, another example we did was, what is a computer software? Okay, who can try that?
I think the computer software is what you're telling the computer to do.
Go ahead, Raphael. Go ahead and try that.
I think a computer software is the main component, these parts of the computer like random access, like RAM, CPU, and
Yeah. So
voice and stuff.
okay, so that's a computer software or a computer hardware, Raphael?
Oh, that's hard.
Hardware? Yeah, that's a computer hardware, the parts you can touch, you can see and touch. But the software, Ethan, you wanna try?
The software is the internal chip, like stuff you can't see, right?
Yeah. So those are the programs, okay? The instruction code, which are given to this to the computer hardware for it to be able to do what it's supposed to do. So when you program, like in the internet, you do your programming in HTML, you give a computer instructions. So those are falling under the category of computer software. Okay. Now, what is the internet? Go ahead, Ethan.
The World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web. So the internet is the World Wide Web. Very good. And what about the intranet? Anybody? Now, when we say the World Wide Web is out there, but the intranet will only be very specific to a given environment, like in a company environment. So it is the intranet. So it's not for the whole world, but just for a company within a small area. It could be for a church within the church area. It could be for a house. You could just be having your intranet in the house. Intra. Okay. So if you see here, the internet, we start with capital I, and then the internet, the intranet, we start with small I. Okay.
Excuse me, are you sharing the screen for? Oh, okay.
Okay. You see now?
Yeah.
All right. I wasn't sharing before, sorry. Okay, so what does www stands for? Yes, Ethan?
World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web. Okay. Now, if you remember how the spider web looks like, it's connecting so many different corners. So the internet was taken from that web of things, right? So the internet is the World Wide Web, and the World Wide Web is the internet. So worldwide is all around the world, and then the web for the spider web. Okay. So the www is the World Wide Web. What is HTML? All right. Okay. Okay, let me go ahead and try. Raphael, what's the HTML?
Hypertext markup language.
Very good. Is that what you had in mind, Ethan? All right. Okay. All right. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. What is CSS? CSS, we are here to talk about it today. And if you look on the screen, there'll be that cascading style sheets. CSS stands for cascading style sheets. Okay, they help us dress up and beautify the internet. Okay. What would you like to be when you grow up? This is a question for everybody now. Faith, what would you like to be when you grow up? Can I unmute? Can I unmute?
A doctor.
You're gonna be a doctor. Very nice. That's very good. Okay. How about Bernice? Bernice, you can unmute. Okay. While Bernice is getting ready, let me go back to Ethan. Ethan, what would you like to be when you grow up?
An electric engineer.
Very nice. Very good. How about Raphael?
A physicist.
Physicist. Very nice. That's really nice. Okay. How about Nate? You can unmute.
An aerospace engineer.
A software engineer?
An aerospace engineer.
Aerospace engineer. Very good. All right. How about Chloe?
A vet.
A veterinary doctor? Okay.
Yes.
Very nice. How about Michaela? Okay, Michaela would like to be a chemist. Very nice. All right. How about Derek? Derek, what would you like to be when you grow up? Okay. All right. Anytime you make up your mind, just let me know, okay? It's all good. So, are computers smart? What do you guys think? Are the computers smart? Okay, go ahead, Raphael, tell me.
Not necessarily. They just follow instructions given to them.
That's very nice. That's very, very correct and true. Now, the computers are very good, but they're not very smart because they have to follow instruction. The instruction you give the computers what they follow to be able to give you what you want. Okay. Now, what is a browser? What is a browser? We use it every day for browsing the internet. Is a browser hardware or a software? Okay, Raphael, go ahead.
Software.
It's a software, right? So a browser is, we can say browser is a software we use for browsing the internet. And then you give example. An example of a browser will be like Internet Explorer, Chrome browser, like Google Chrome, and also we have Firefox. Those are some of the very few examples. We also have so many other ones out there like Apple and all that. Okay. What does OS stand for? Okay, Ethan?
Operating system.
Operating system. Very good. Very good. Okay, who can tell me what the acronym GIGO, G-I-G-O, stand for? You've never done this in class, but it's very important that we know. Now that's, the GIGO is tied to the fact that computers are not very smart. So GI stands for garbage in. Okay, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and, okay, go ahead, Bernice. Speak up.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Simply,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, so anything you give computer, that's what you get out. If you give it good information, you get good information back. I mean, if you give it good data, you get good information back. If you give it bad data, you get bad data back. Now that tells us that there's a difference between information and data. So in data refers to facts and figures. It could be the numbers, could be the statement. So it refers to data. Data refers to facts, figures. Then we have information. Information is what we get after processing the data. So information is processed data. So whatever we get back is what information will be. So here we have GIGO refers to if you give it the garbage, you get the garbage back. The garbage you give it will have to depend on what you want it to give you. All right. So that brings us to that. And then we are going to go ahead and ask everyone to go back to what we made last time, the website you made, remember? Okay, we are going to go back in there and we are going to get started from there. So what we did last time, we did HTML and we created a very simple website. Our website was basically what we call, we basically call it a personal website or a web page, okay? So this is something we did last time, okay? If you see my screen, can you see my screen? We did the doc type, which is HTML, and this is normally telling the HTML, the browser, the declaration statement, what type of HTML or what version of HTML we're going to be using. And then we added the HTML tag. The HTML tag, we opened and then we closed it. But within the HTML tag, we added the title. Okay. Within the title tags, we put whatever you want to do or whatever you want that web page to be. So we put, this is our first web page. Okay. Then we open the header file. The header file here will be what we are going to do today. We are going to add some stuff within the header file. And then we went to the body. In the body, we created, on that day it was Father's Day, so we created H1. H1 is header 1. H for header 1, and that means it's very large. If we do header 2 will be relatively smaller than header 1. Header 3 will be relatively smaller than header 2. Header 4 will be relatively smaller than header 3. And it goes that until, I believe, header 6, okay? But we'll be touching both, all of those. And then we used the P tag. The P tag is for paragraph. You open a paragraph and then you close it. So this is a paragraph tag. So we say, I love this class. You can say, I love this class and I love this day, okay? Then we say, I love this month. So if we save this one, okay, I would save it here. So I'm gonna save it on my desktop. If I save it on my desktop, I can always come back and open it. Okay, so let me see here if I can do that. Okay, we're gonna go back here. Okay, let me see where is that. That's the page right there. So it's coming up. This is the web page we just created. If you see here, up at the top, this is our web page. This is the title. The title is going to be up there. And this is the header 1. I can say we can add header 2. I just go there. I can go back in here I just copy that. And then I paste it here. I change from H1 to H2. And then we say, let's say this was Mother's Day, okay? And just an example. If I save that, I refresh here, you see, Mother's Day. We can do another one. Another one. So this one will be 3. And this will be 4. This will be 5. You can make changes as we go, so you try on your own too. So when I save, every time you have to save your work, okay? I come here, I basically refresh, and then you see. So it's populating, but with smaller and smaller writing. Now the last one here, I believe it's going to be 6. So we do 6. Okay, I do 6. So 6 here. That's the last one for the H ones, and for the H tag. Come back, and then I refresh. So you see that 6. So we can go ahead and say, hey, I want to be able to mark them. So we say this one is H6. Then I say this is H5. And then I say this is H4. And then I say this is H3. And I say this is H2. And this is H1. It doesn't matter in this case, but you just have to be consistent. It can be lowercase or uppercase. Okay, so when I save that, I come back here, I just basically refresh it. So this tells us what that is. And then I can decide, hey, that's not good enough. What if I want to make a different color? I can say there's a color tag. So I say font, and then I say color. I say equals to, and I say red. Okay. I'll share this with you on the chat so you can copy it. Say that's going to be red. And then I just say the tag has to be closed when we open. So the font tag. Okay. So this one is going to be red. Let's see. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like on our screen. I have to refresh it. So when I refresh it, it's red. Okay. How beautiful is that? Hey, we can go ahead and do something else with that. Let's see. Okay. 1 second here. Okay, now if that was red, we can change this one for the next one. Copy. You basically come in and do that. Change this one to H2. And then this one, instead of being red, we can give it green now. If you want to see your changes, make sure you always save. And then once you save it, come back here, refresh it, look what happens. It's green. Okay. What if you want to change another color? Let's say we want to make this other color. We want to make this other color yellow. Okay. Just do yellow. And instead of H2 now we have H3, right? And then you do that. You refresh it. That's yellow. Very hard to see though, because its background is white. So those are some of the tags. Now what I'm trying to tell you here is the limitation is where your imagination is going to be. So you can do a lot with your HTML. and you can always engage us online. If you want to go beyond that, you can always do. This is not the end of it, right? So today, we are going to go ahead and talk about the cascading style sheets, the CSS. C stands for cascading, something cascading, something overlapping on each other, okay? And then the style, and then it's a sheets, cascading style sheets. So we say cascading style sheet, or the CSS, is a list of rules, okay? So I'm gonna, let me go back here so I can give you a very quick idea of what is going on, okay? So imagine that you pass by, let's say, a building being constructed, okay? When you see a building being constructed, it's just a pile of concrete, pillars and beams, okay? Imagine that's gonna be equivalent of just HTML markup tags, just the skeleton, okay? When the skeleton is being constructed, it will probably not make a lot of sense. It might be nice, but not good looking the way you'd like it to be. Then the presentation is when now the building is being, this is the same building here, but now that building is being dressed up. Now they include the glass, the plastic, and all the beautiful things, including the colors. So the same building here, which is equivalent of HTML markup site planning, is now turning to be what we have here, CSS, which is a very beautiful, good-looking building now. So markup language gives us the structure. Those are the beams and those are the beams and the structure of the pillars. Once we get that, we dress it up with the glasses, the paint, and we beautify it. We use the CSS. Okay. Now we will not talk about the JavaScript here, but the JavaScript will just be now the interior design of the same building. Okay. So having said that, let's go back to the CSS. So it's a list, CSS is a list of rules that can assign different properties to HTML tags, either specified to single tags, multiple tags, or an entire document, or even multiple documents within a website or a web page. Now, these rules dictate how the HTML elements of a website should actually appear, including the colors, the fonts, the design, the layout, and the variations in display for different devices and screen types or sizes. So what that means is we can have a website, right? Like this one here. This is just a very simple web page. But the moment you start styling it up, you put the colors, like we just did here, you're making it beautiful. Now you're including so many things to it, okay? You can even include an image. Let's say you come here and then you say, okay, now we want to put an image tag. Okay? If you put an image tag, that is something like that. Okay? And then you can say, okay, now my image is going to be, let's say, my picture, okay? The picture will have like an image, so it could be like something like, say, George. And then the image extension would be PG, that's for JPEG, okay? Let's see here one second. All right, 1 second, let's see here. Let me grab an image so we can put it there so you see, okay? Okay, so here, I'm sorry. So CRC, it should be CRC. And then we put an image. And then once you finish, you can put you can close it, okay, for now. But if you need the image to take a certain dimensions, you can say, I would like the width of the image to be, let's say to be 500 pixels. The pixels are the dots on the screen, okay? The ones you can see, very small dots, 500. And let's say the height of the image is equals to, let's say, 400 for now. And that can always be changed, okay? So if we do that, now I have to bring the image. Now remember, there's no image known as George. So I'm gonna go back to the internet and just search for, I go to Google and then look for image known as George. You can look the same image online. Let's say JPG George. Could be a lot of Georges out there. So let's go ahead and look if we can get George Washington. George Washington was the first president of this country. So we're gonna get this image here. It's just an example, okay? Okay, so once I copy, let me go ahead and save it. So I'm gonna save it on my desktop. Save the image, but save it as George JPEG. So I'll share that with you. So we go George. Okay. Save it on the desktop. So when I come back here, okay, so this image has already been saved, but we say whatever that image is, we want it to have a width, how wide it's going to be. It's going to be 500 pixels by height 400 pixels. So once I do that, I save the work, okay, and then I bring my browser, okay. This is our browser here, okay. So if we refresh, look on the screen, we have the image now. So we brought the image. You don't have to do the George image. You can do your own family picture for now. And then you perfect it. Now we can manipulate this image on the screen by changing the height, okay, and the width. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and say 250. Okay, that's how big the width is, right? Here. This guy it's going to be 250 now. So if we save it and then I refresh it, okay, look what happens to the image now. It's squished. The image is now squished, right? So we say that doesn't look good. Oh, okay, maybe it looks good. Now let's go ahead and see what we can do with the height. So we say, let's make the height 150. Maybe too small, but let's see what happens. We change the height of the image. The image, remember the image name is George. Okay, that's the image name. So we change the height, refresh, look what happens. It's a little bit squeezed. Oh, we can do some changes again. Maybe it looks too wide. So we change it to 250 here, okay? We save it, we come back, let's refresh it. Okay, looks a little better. Okay, and then we can decide, hey, let's give this image a title. Let's give it a title. So when you give an image a title in HTML, you can use alternate. That means when you put a mouse on that image, it's going to tell you what the image is all about. So we say this is George Washington. Okay. I save it. That depends on the browser. Some browser might not be able to show you that. So normally for me, I can even say just title, okay? One or the other should work for us. So I go back here. I copy that and then I paste it in the title too. Paste that. And then I save it again. Okay. Okay. Are you guys having problem connecting? Okay. Let me know if there's any issue, okay? Okay, once we save that image, remember now the image, we have it on our end of the desktop, and we give the image a name, and the name of the image is George Washington. So we go back here and refresh. Right now, if I put the mouse on the image, nothing shows up. But if I do the refresh, you will not see any changes. But if I put my mouse on the image, now you see, it's telling us who that is, George Washington. Okay, I can decide to do another image. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and do another image. This is one of my favorite. Okay, I just go back in there and then I say Martin Luther King. So we go look for Martin Luther. Okay, that's one of my favorite heroes. So Martin Luther King.
Do we have to be writing this all in our notepad?
Or you can do in Notepad. Are you following with me?
No, because I disconnected. So
Oh, okay. So I'll copy and paste this on the chat, and then you can copy and paste it on your end. Is that okay?
yeah, that's okay.
Okay, let me go ahead and do that before I proceed. But the image, you can download them on the internet, and you can name them. They don't have to be George image. Okay. Let me go back here and just do that real quick so we can proceed. Okay, feel free to, okay, this is for everyone. So feel free to paste, copy and paste that on your end. Okay, still have time. So I'm gonna change this name of this image to Martin. So do that. I go back here, grab an image from the internet for Martin Luther King. Okay. Save that, call it Martin. Okay, it's gonna be on my desktop. Come back here. Look what happens. Now I need to change this name, right? So instead of George Washington there, I say Martin Luther King. King Jr. Okay. So once I change that, I want to change the title too. So depending on the browser, sometimes the alt for alternate will work, but some other browsers will only recognize the title. So normally I put both. Okay, and this normally is very good for people who may not be able to, let's say, to see aspects of that image, because everybody has different ways of looking at things. So once I did that, so let's see if we have Martin now in the image gallery. Okay, look, when I refresh, look, boom. Now this guy is the old Martin, and this is the Martin we know. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get the one Martin we have. So let me see, Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, go get this guy, save it as Martin. Replace that, okay. Save that and replace it. Come back, refresh it. Boom, I got it now, okay? So this is just one way of making your personal web page. So if you come here, we are now from the very basics. we are able to put different categories of the same image. I mean, of the same website, like you have header 1, header 2, header 3, header 4, up to header 6. And then we're now able to connect the website to an image. So I'm going to go back here and then share with you again. Okay. So what we did was the HTML, the very basics. And then we're now dressing up the image. Now let's go back to what we call the CSS. Now the rules, or these rules of the CSS dictate that, or they basically manipulate the HTML elements of a website so they can appear to have colors, to have fonts, to have a different design, layout, and variation they display. Okay, sorry. Okay, we identify a CSS file with this extension, CSS. Okay, so we go here. Okay, now HTML was never intended to contain tags for formatting a web page. They're just tagged for laying out a web page. Now, when the tags like font, which we just used, and color attributes were added to HTML3, it started a nightmare for web developers. Now, development of large websites where fonts, colors were added, like fonts and colors were added to every single page, that became long and very expensive process because you need a lot of programmers to do that. Now, to solve this problem, CSS was created. Now, CSS came and removed the style it came and removed the style formatting from the HTML. So we separated that aspect of it to be very specific to just for formatting pages. Okay. Now, this is a syntax. Okay. Instead of me doing what I just did with the coloring, that was the old way of doing HTML, and then putting the colors, and then putting the image. Now CSS came to the rescue, and it's following, like, instead of saying, let me go back here 1 second so you can see what I mean. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. See. Okay, so you see, instead of having like a P and then having like a color, this is an old way of doing CSS. Of course, you have to start from the ground up. Now, look, we can have P here. That's a selector. It's the same thing. We call it P as in the reformatting for the paragraph. And then we can call a color property. Okay. Now the color property, look what we did. This is the color. I can change that color, let's say to blue. It's still going to work. So most of the browsers are backward compatible with the old HTML. So if I did that, look at what's going to happen here. Okay. If I refresh, it's going to be blue. But it's telling us that that was an old way of doing things. CSS came and replaced that aspect of doing things the old way. And they made sure that our declaration in the CSS is going to be separate, or it can be embedded in the HTML. But it's going to be almost something like this. Okay. So we go, when a browser reads a style sheet, which is CSS, it will format the HTML document according to the information in the style sheet. So there are 3 ways of inserting a style sheet. Okay. We can do inline. That means we put the web page using HTML, and then we design, we put CSS in, let's say CSS styling. And then we can say we want to style inside. That's inline. Something like that is an inline. We are going to see how that works here pretty soon. Now, we can also do it separately and then we call it in. That means we can do it externally and then we link it into the web page. And then we can also do an internal CSS within the HTML. We can do that. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and see some examples right here. An inline style, okay, may be used to apply a unique style for a single element. Okay, inline styles are defined within the style attribute, like I just showed you here. We do the style attribute, and then we can put something in there, in that style. Say we can say style, and then we say, I would like us to go ahead and style all the P's, okay? All the P, anywhere you see a P, we are going to go ahead and style it. Style it with what? Color, let's say color blue. So this is the property, and then we give it a value of blue. Okay, and then we just end with a semicolon, and then we say this is an inline. We say inline styling. Okay, in a paragraph. Okay, let's see here. Okay, inline style in a paragraph. So we say that. Okay, once we do that, now we are going to go ahead and normally when you start, the way we did here, you always want to end it with an equivalent of a closing tag. So here we go ahead and we do the P, closing tag. Okay, so if you look on the screen, we open with a P, we do the inline, the color, and then we close it. So we save it. That's going to be inline example. So if I save it and then I refresh it, see, that's what we just did. That's inline. Okay, so we can say, instead of saying inline, we can go ahead and say, okay, that's above George and Luther. So we come back here. Let's refresh. Look what's going to happen to this line. Refresh it. Okay. So we basically brought the two. Okay. So that's going to be the inline. Now the external, that means we have to design, we design the whole thing outside and then we call it in to be part of the web page. So an internal style sheet may be used if one single HTML page has a unique style. Now, internal styles are defined within the style sheet or the style sheet element inside the header section. So if you go back in the header, remember the header section here, we left it blank so we can fill it up with the styles. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and put them in the header. Okay. I paste that in here. And that tells us that the whole body, background color, any H1 is going to be turned into yellow. And then margin is going to be 60 pixels from the left. So if we save this and then we refresh the page, you'll see the changes. So we go back. Okay. Let's go ahead and refresh. Hopefully that's going to show us something. You see? Background color is all black. So it's telling us that every background color has to be black. And any H1 has to be yellow in color. And the margin has to have at least 6 pixels from the left. And that's exactly what we have here. So you can see the Happy Father's Day H1 is actually in yellow. What if we say we would like to make some more of that? So we can say, we can put H1, H2, H3. Let's see if that can take it, okay? Save it, refresh it. Okay, it didn't work. So what did we do wrong? So let's go back and see. We need to have a comma. Is it supported? Let's see. Refresh again. Boom. So you can basically style your pages. You can say, hey, we can put more. So anytime you're telling the browser, anytime you see H1, H2, H3, and even H4, please go ahead and mark them yellow. So in this case, we are going to mark them blue. Okay. And then from the left, I would like you to give it 50 pixels. So we have a margin, okay? You save that, you refresh, things have changed again, okay? And that's how style sheets work. Now this is internal and inline. Now we have another one, external. External will be, we bring it from outside inside, okay? Now with an external style sheet, you can change the look of an entire website by changing just one file. So this is normally more recommended because in software development, we call it separation of concerns. So by design, this really helps us a lot in making changes to a whole website. So you just go ahead and target one particular CSS file, which is cascading style sheet file, and then you make changes to it. You call it inside your web browser or inside your HTML, and then it will affect the changes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here because this is too much to take today. But we'll proceed from here tomorrow. Okay. And remember, all is recorded. If you have any question, you ask. Okay. So far, do you have any question for me? And how do you like this? I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it in your copy paste so that you can grab it and then play around with it on your end. Okay. I encourage you to do this all the time. So I'm pasting it in your chat.
Oh, that was a lot of work.
Say again?
That was a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, huh? Yeah, that's where they get paid a lot of money. Okay. So by the time you're finishing this class and then you come back for another class and then you come back again, by the time you turn 18 or 16 years old, you'll be designing web pages for big companies. And I would like to see that happen to everybody in here. So I'm going to copy the same code in a WhatsApp group so you can also grab it from there, and I also shared with you here. So tomorrow we are going to go ahead and link a video into the web page, and then we are going to style it some more. Okay. I'm loving this class. We are just barely touching the ground and everything's getting exciting. Okay. So is there anybody with any question for me? Anybody? Okay. If you have any question, please feel free to ask, or you can put it on the WhatsApp page for me, okay? Either me or Esther will be able to answer for you. Okay, now with that, I really thank you very much for your time and for coming. Please study, study, and study. We have all the notes out there, but I'll add more today, okay? And you have a good day.
Wait, a quick question.
Yes,
Will we have a test or something on this?
I'll put more tests for you today.
Okay.
Something close to what I did on those questions, okay? But this one will be, like, go in and then you have multiple choices, and then you can answer, and then it will automatically send you an email with what you scored. This will just be able to help you understand the concepts, okay?
Okay.
All right. Any other question for me? Okay. If you don't have any other question, I wish you a good day and thank you very much, okay? Copy, make sure you copy this code and then paste it on your end and play around with it. But each time you save it and then refresh, but you have to save it as HTML. If your name is Ethan, save it as ethan.html. If your name is Nate, save it as nate.html on your desktop. And the images also have to be on the desktop, okay? All right, good day, guys, and thank you very much. We'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, bye.
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 Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.